Welcome back. This is our little show, What More Could You Want? And I'm joined today by a very good friend of mine.
What's up, guys? I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jeremy. And we have with us today a very important guest. Prior to getting to him, and he is owed quite a debt of gratitude by myself and the Barrel family, I feel that it's only proper to give him the time that he deserves and the proper introduction. So I don't want to get to that just yet. First and foremost, I would like to say that this is our 10th episode, Jeff.
Very cool.
It's pretty wild, isn't it?
Time flies, man.
They say that if you get past episode 7, you might actually make it.
Well, hey.
I think by make it, they just mean you might get to 10 or 20. I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. You got past one.
Yeah.
One more than we thought.
I was worried there for a bit, though, because at episode 7, it was like, okay, this editing is a lot harder than what it should be.
Yeah, but too, right before 7 was right before the nonsense started, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, you're right. It made things very difficult for us.
We had that delay time of like, are we going to have to start calling to each other to experiment with our network capabilities to see how we can do this?
Right, and we've talked about that. We can do it. We can have people call in. We can pipe in the audio and video directly at the same time so that can be a full experience for the users. Not something I want to do yet.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still learning how to walk here.
No kidding.
Prior to hitting the record button today, we were laughing about how long it can take to set some of this stuff up, and you sort of don't realize the links that some of these professionals, or whatever you want to call them, must go through.
Oh yeah, it's insane. We'll think like we're doing this in a small room. Like, what does a concert venue staff go through?
Oh man!
And then you realize, I see why it takes an artist 90 plus minutes to do a sound check. It's like, okay, this makes complete sense.
Yeah,
we're here.
You have to recreate the same exact sound every night.
Yes, a talent.
Different places, different speakers. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so without further ado, and speaking of music, here in the St. Louis area, we would be remiss if we did not include our first guest's name amongst the greats here in our music community. But it doesn't stop there. So let me go back a little ways here. Mr. Jim Harper, a dear friend of mine, dear friend of Barrel Brands, before that Barrel Beard and Tattoo. He's been a creative, what I would call junkie, for more than 20 years. He began his life as a digital artist in the spirit industry, I believe. He worked with iconic brands such as... And he went on to work with Energizer, or at least projects that touched Energizer, Miller, Bacardi, and others. Little old dude from right here where I'm from, Yeah. This is pretty awesome. All right. So when Jimmy creates something, and this has been all throughout his career is what I'm finding, that he doesn't take the idea of the product, or he doesn't take that idea of what it looks like and make it go from there. He takes the feeling that people have put into it, and he conveys it via imagery and via words. And when he created that imagery and those words for Barrel Beard and Tattoo and Barrel Brands, it was like having a massive light shined on a little bitty dude. And that little bitty dude was me. Right? So I'm going to go on. So that was Jim Harper Creative. Excuse me. And he went on to form, and I'm sorry, I have it here. What's the name of the last one?
Box and Clever?
Nope. Corporate Electric.
Oh, Corporate Electric.
Yeah. And so Jim Harper sort of morphed. But then before all of that even, like Jim just said, so poignantly, he's been helping people grow from day one. Jimmy has always helped other people grow. That's what you people need to understand here today. It's never been anything more than how can we help those that are around us develop and better whatever they have to offer.
Doing something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And he's been doing that for forever.
That's a gift.
It is a gift.
There and have this talent that you have, and then decide, cool, I'm using it for myself. But then you take it and you see individuals like Jeremy and others that you've helped, and you take this and you go, I can help you. We can just go here to here, and those people are like, holy shit, like,
yeah.
But it's those cool things.
So Jimmy's been a part of large firms, like when he started, Brown Foreman, all that stuff. He's been part of smaller firms, like the one he helped create there with Boxing Clever, where, again, it wasn't just what a lot of people would think of as creatives, like a painter or somebody, but maybe a record company, a record cover.
Yeah.
So they actually sort of acted as a record label as well. So you're handling all of that creative process for people that are extremely creative in doing something. And you now get to put your touch on somebody's baby that is always going to be their baby.
Oh, they stand the test of time.
They will
too.
never forget
Music
that.
has and never. Records.
Right. So, much like myself and my family, we will never forget what's been done for us. So, I digress. I'm not going to name all of them, but he's, and I didn't know this until I started doing some more digging, but I didn't understand that when Jim left the corporate electric, which he had started himself again, to go work with Toki, that names like Jay Leno would grace some of the projects. Like, I don't even know you anymore, dude. I don't even know you. So I'm going to go on here, and I'll make it not too much longer, I promise. So he did attend SIUE, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And what did you major in?
Art, painting.
You did? Okay, yeah. Thank you. So he majored in art and painting. I asked you that not because I didn't look.
Yeah.
I just couldn't find it. So you need to update your Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So let's go back to music. What's Jimmy done in music in this area? Well, Jimmy is a wonderful percussionist, and he has graced our ears in the St. Louis area for years. Just a few of his bands: Pave the Rocket, Snake Ranch, Robot Plus Bike, right? Just a little bit. And I'm going to read you guys something here. And some of these links we provided in the video and whatnot whenever you guys see this. Robot Plus Bike is a conglomeration of artists solely heck-bent on providing musical and literary entertainment for kids. And, okay, the adults they are with as well. But mostly kids. By playing music for kids and making awesome art and books for them. And maybe even using technology to find new ways to immerse children in positive messaging and rock. He's been a part of, or at least responsible for projects with other bands like Judge Nothing, Cave of Swords. Currently working on a book with another wonderful human being, Chris Ryan from Once Films, for a prolific artist, engraver, another St. Louis gem, Mr. Tom Huck. Name of the book is Chasing Ghosts. They're not done with it, but when they are, it's going to be good, trust me. All right, so he's also appeared on things such as Guide to Fast Living, Volume 1. That's been a while ago. How about the Ultraman family tree? Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so Jordan Harper. Who's Jordan Harper? Because he created that along with, and I know the gentleman's name, and I can't believe I can't remember it right now, but Jordan Harper. When I saw Jordan Harper, I was like, Harper? And I knew you were already part of that little family tree with your bands. Do you remember who that was?
I don't. It was Tim Jameson was a singer.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And the band, but I'm not familiar with Jordan Harper.
Yeah, so there's this little thing here called All in the Family, the St. Louis music scene.
I don't want to insult Jordan Harper.
No. I guess he was probably the. I'm imagining he was the journalist that put this piece together.
Oh, okay.
But this image here, and I'll show you later, has got Ultraman in the middle, and obviously it goes out to like Bent, Chrissy Fit, Never Alone. But all around it are just like Dementia 13, Fragile, like you guys.
Now
Snake Ranch.
Rob Wagner and Snake Ranch, our last bass player, was the Ultraman's guitar player.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And Bent would go on to actually surpass Ultraman for myself, at least on one of their albums. Yeah. Amazing stuff. And he's written articles, and I didn't know he wrote these, but I did some creeping on his LinkedIn, and one of them was called "Direct Mail Can Still Feel Awesome." And if you're somebody that misses going and digging through a vinyl collection or cassettes or CDs, or maybe you miss that hunt for something, I think that's what this is. This is that getting a tangible item in the mail. It's grimy and it's dirty and you know it, but you love it, And then he's also got an article that I'm going to link here because it's a very, very poignant article on why I've spent my life in this industry. And that would be the creative industry. So, Jesus Christ, dude. I thought I've done a lot of stuff.
A little bit of resume, just.
I'm going to shut that now. And I'm going to ask you, out of what I just read or what I didn't, what do you think is the one thing, maybe two things, that you're going to take with you when you hand things over to your daughter or to the next generation?
Well, one of the projects I did specifically at Boxing Clever was we published a book with Tony Hale.
Right.
That is now a show on Netflix. So it's like,
and I knew that. Sorry I didn't include that.
Okay. No, it's that was 100% specifically for my daughter. Like I had the opportunity. He was writing a book with my friend. I begged them to let us put it out, and I wanted her to have that and give it to her kid because you can't get rid of them, right? Unless we have a book burning party.
Yeah. Hey, you never know.
Yeah. Let's hope not.
Exactly. Yeah. So the idea for that project was, and that's when I decided that no matter what I did in my career, I was going to also create heirlooms because I don't want my things to just disappear in the digital space. I want people to find my stuff at a yard sale. Pretty high aspirations, right?
That's impressive.
I don't know. I agree. That's very impressive, I think.
Yeah. I don't think many people would think that way.
Sure. And I think that when we did that and we did the record label, I'm still riding that wave from the past and I'm doing it again because it was the thing that felt better. But whenever you create something that is decent and it outlives you, that's where you're like, okay, I'm proud of making that.
I would say that you've already done that tenfold. I mean, you have. You've touched the world with. I mean, your music's in print. Your writing is in print. Your creations are all over my house.
Well, thank you.
I mean, it's really wacky for me to think about it like that though, because when I make something, people use it. It's gone. Right, or maybe it sits on the shelf and they use it for a special occasion, whatever.
I still got every bottle you ever give me.
Me too.
Right, I got it.
I got this collection quite going. It's like, I got this basket, and it's just like, and I got every box still too. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, both of you. That's wonderful.
And the very original one, the blue bottle, prior to any of this, maybe even being a thought in your head,
man,
it was probably in Jim's head.
No, it wasn't. We didn't even know each other then.
Yeah. Okay, so
I was hustling bottles for like 2-3 years before I ever met you.
So it was in the blue bottle when you gave away as a Christmas gift, whatever year that was.
That was just probably some random cheap bottle I could find.
Well, it's stuff which you can go on Amazon, whatever the little blue science-looking experiment bottles are.
Right, but so I guess what I was trying to say there is that for me, I make something, I give it to somebody that like it. That's great, but it's not a painting. It's not a record. It's not something that my kid can, you know what I mean? It's not that.
Something they can hold and
they're not listening to dad strum on the guitar or play the drums. It's different because what I do is an obvious intention to make other people feel good physically.
Mm-hmm.
The creative work that you've done, it does that on multiple levels, on multiple medias, on multiple.
Well, it hits the senses across the board.
Yeah, and I disagree with you a little bit because what you're creating something that not only affects the person that it's wearing, but affects people around them, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, when we developed it, that's one of the things we were talking about. You create scents and these amazing products that are made by hand and aged with care that people get, and when they're done, they want the next one. It's not like you're just like, okay, we have this one kind. You know, it's a series, it's a library.
Sure, that's true.
And that's what's cool. And I think that's what we talked about at the beginning of the process when we all met. And you guys came visited me in the back of the barbershop. And we're like, what the heck is this guy doing in the back of a barbershop? And
I loved it. When I found out where you were, I was like, this is already my man. Like,
and it was like, I think that's the thing is it's you're not stopping with what, you know, no one buys your stuff and be like, all right, I'm done now. You know, they want the next one and they want the different one. And
sure.
You know, especially like with me, out of all of them, the Stoic, the most, you know, one of the most recent ones, is something I can't stop. You know, I almost want to pour it on my head and eat it.
I've got it in a gift bag for you, so don't worry.
Cool.
No, that's like one of my favorite. And then like I have on today, No Bad Days.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm meticulous with some of them, as you know. Like I will use them down, and they'll be to this, and it's like they're gonna sit there. Yeah. And I literally, it's like today, it's like, and we know how the thing we go, but it's like I'm gonna use this because I need that message on myself today. But it's a good scent, and it's just like, but yeah, all of them do. Yeah. And like when you've re-released things, people are like, boom. Like when we re-released Built, people jumped. Yeah. And I remember when that first got released, it's like, damn. And you know, I had it in this little, I'm like, oh, and it's just like, you know, you're like being so sparingly with it, but it's exactly like Jim's saying. It may not be something that's going to last unless you're like me who, you know, keeps them down to this. And it's like waiting for that special occasion to hit that expression up. But you have something that will stand.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I don't get to look at it like that very often. It's hard.
Yeah. Right? You know, my favorite thing about your product, and not to just make this a big commercial all of a sudden.
Yeah, cue music. This was not built in, guys.
I'm glad I dressed like I'm robbing a stagecoach for your commercial.
Right.
But the thing about it is your product can never be too strong because of the way it's made. You can put on put on the whole bottle, and it can't be too strong. It's like self-regulated, but. When you walked into the front of the barbershop and I was at my desk, I knew you walked in because the scent is so goes through. So that's an amazing balance, right? Is that you have this product that you could douse yourself with it and it wouldn't be any stronger than if you just put a little bit on. But the second you walk into a building, even though you're 50 yards away, you can already, oh, here comes Jeremy. Yeah. Weird. Because I can smell you, and that sounds weird, but it's true.
People at the gym that I used to attend would always say the same thing. They're like, I didn't even have to see you. And like, that was, to me at first, it was off-putting. It was like, oh, my bad. Yeah. I'm sorry. And then all of a sudden people are like, can I have some?
Right.
It's like, oh.
Well, no, it's like even coming up to your house at times.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, someone's cooking. You're like, ooh. Like, my wife's grandma, when they cook, you know, true Italians cooking bagna cotta, you can smell that sucker true Italian dish outside. Well, you come in, it's like, ooh, and then I'm like, man, what's that? And then like I try and run through my head anytime I've ever been over, like, okay, what expression is that? Is that kind of smells like, you know, okay, hold, what's that? Like you try to run, but then you kind of pick up the mix, but it's exactly that. Yeah. You know, and the one thing to, you know, add what Jim said about you not having this tangible thing, you technically do that. You could say that your recipes,
that's true,
could be handed to the kids.
Right.
To think every great baker, you know, chemist, scientist, alcohol maker has this original recipe that somewhere down the line that maybe one of them tweak to come up with something completely new.
Yeah, I implore you guys to read Tom Robbins, who's one of my favorite authors, book Jitterbug Perfume, about the perfume industry.
Okay.
Because, you know, it's got this, you know, bizarre character, Marcel Lefebvre, who's this French perfumer who in Paris who wears a bizarre whale mask when he addresses his employee. It's like Tom Robbins is far out. He's my
like it.
So get it immediately. But it talks about the scent, and one of the characters in the book is Pan. You know, the god Pan with the hooved feet, and you can. No one can see him in the regular world except a very specific few people in the book, but they always smell him. And so it's a book about fragrance that also has these fiction, you know, these gods that are still on walking the earth that people can only smell. It's so in your wheelhouse.
That's amazing.
So not to bring that up on air.
No, that'd be cool. Thank you. Yeah. And I do appreciate it, guys. I have a hard time, and it's no secret that sometimes I forget things. Yeah, I forget that people like what we do. I get so in it that I forget what's around it. Yeah. Right? It's pretty easy to do, I think. Yeah. But and especially in these days, you know, we have just a couple things on our mind. Yeah. Just a couple, you know, just a few things as parents, as whatever, as employees, employers, business owners. It's a crazy time for all of us. But okay, so that is enough about me. My goodness, guys, that was a dirty trick.
It's your podcast.
It's a
We
dirty
can talk
trick.
about you all day.
That's a dirty trick.
Well, I want to know the feeling though of when a project, the book, becomes a show, turns into, hey, Netflix, you know, comes to you like.
Here's the problem.
Insane.
I'll take credit for being a decent creative, but I'm a terrible business person. So, and that's why I don't have my own place now. Talk about that for a second. You're not always the best person to make your own life decisions.
Yeah.
And so when you talk to someone long enough and you're like, here's what I love doing, here's what I hate doing, and you know, you talk to 2 or 3 people and they're like, you like doing everything except you don't like doing the business part. You don't like paperwork and so it's like, someone kind of told me, it's like, I think you need to go work for someone for a while. And I was like, man, that sounds wonderful. And they were right. But as far as that book goes, we introduced Tony to DreamWorks, who put that show out at a conference in Nashville where we pitched the book and some other ideas around the book to some high rollers, and hung out with this gentleman, Rick from DreamWorks, and talked to him in the elevator after one of the pitches. And then next thing, now that's who's putting the show out. And unfortunately I sold that company,
right.
But still,
you have to have some satisfaction.
Totally.
The work's going.
So, but again, no one could take that book away from me, and it's out there and everything. But and that's why I'm doing another one, because there's just that feeling of completion, and then it gets printed, and then it goes out, and then people see it. And in this next, book, the experience is going to be, that book's going to be in libraries and universities and art museums, and that that's a whole new, very difficult challenge as far as marketing it.
Right.
But when you collaborate with somebody like Tom, you're like, we'll figure that out. It's gonna be cool.
Totally. So, it's worth it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of work to be done there, I'm sure.
For sure.
Yeah. And I had no idea. We hadn't spoken in a while. I wasn't sure if you guys had actually come to completion on that book, if you were in the middle or what you were doing. I just remembered whenever that it was finally you guys were going to do it. How cool it was to hear that.
Yeah. So we've been Zooming over quarantine with Tom. My friend Greg Kessler is writing the pages. The each when an artist has a series of movements throughout their career. So he has his first series was bought by Harvard, and he came out of the gate out of school doing great. After his second series, he did the Roots Phrenology album cover, and so he's had a very prolific career, and in this case, we're kind of saying this is the movement, these are the pieces, and then we have details of the pieces, and we kind of take you through his whole life, which is cool. And he was like, should we put this last one I'm still working on in? I'm like, always pretend like the thing you're making is the last thing you're gonna make. Right. Don't say, now we'll do that next time. There might not be a next time.
It's a good way to look at it.
Anything for granted.
Yeah, totally, man.
So I was like, let's get whatever we can in it. So the latest one he printed in Scotland, and he's going back to print it if travel allows in a couple months, and we're gonna try to get it in the book and then just ship it out. But if we can't, it doesn't make it, no big deal. We're at 325 pages now. So it's a monster 12 by 12 coffee table book, and that's what I did at night when I didn't have my daughter over quarantine.
That's fantastic, man.
So, yeah,
that's fantastic.
Very
so,
cool.
I'd like to go back a little bit here, because I know that, like, as a young man, you were a musician, right? You obviously were born with a creative, at least drive, right? What started that? Do you remember what pushed you like over that cliff?
100%. I was lucky enough to be raised by a mother who was like, let's go to the art museum. Here's paper. She just put it out there. She made sure I always had a way to express myself, And so my mom, I remember being really little and going to the art museum, going to these classes and stuff. And, we're 5 Croatians living in a three-room house in Madison, Illinois.
Big pimping.
Couldn't afford anything.
Yeah.
And still, this woman took me out and made sure that I had that was an option, And so I did. And I got into high school, and, this is one of those stories where you just give credit to these people throughout your life. I had a high school art teacher named Mrs. Weiss, and and she believed, she knew I was into it. She was like, all right, I got 30 kids in this class. These 5, I'm going to take care of all of them, but these 5 are serious. So I'm going to make sure they have better, not better, but resources and tools. So, she talked to my mom a lot, and she was like, look, he's into it, make sure you do that. So I was lucky enough to, I got put into a program at WashU while I was still in high school. And I got to go to college during high school on weekends with another guy who was 16 because he was able to drive.
Yeah, perfect. Mom's like, yes, you can go with a ride.
Exactly. And so I got to go to WashU and learn some of the elements of design and drawing and stuff while I was in high school. So I mean, it was going on for a long time,
So you had quite a head start then.
I did.
I mean, for yourself, I don't mean like in the industry.
Right.
It takes work. Right.
Yeah, but to think that you were at that prestigious of university in high school we're going to teach you some things.
Right. And then, so I had a little scholarship there, and once that ran out, it's like, yeah, we're done here.
Right. Yeah. Right. Thank you. But
it was wonderful. Back, yeah. It's still every once in a while, I'm like, should I go back and get my master's there? What should I do? And not enough hours in the day.
I'm not sure that at this point, I mean, I think you'd be doing that more for you than anything, right?
Oh, for sure.
You're definitely, your work speaks for itself. Nobody's asking you for a master's degree.
Yeah. No, but, I adjunct professor at SIUE and taught, and it's amazing. Gotcha. And I kind of want to do it someday still.
Wow.
But you can't teach college without a master's degree.
Well, yeah, that's very true.
So what I need to do is I need to get super famous, so somebody gives me an honorary one. Then I don't have to do it.
You'll just skip that. You go straight to doctorate
all day. Yeah.
So I'm gonna write a hit song when I get done here tonight. And
you've probably got a couple, dude. Yeah. Just go pick one. Stop, dude.
Yeah.
Chill out.
I've been good at it up to this point, writing hit songs.
Right.
Put on the dartboard, throw. Yeah.
So then let's jump way back to now. When's the last time you were behind a drum kit on stage?
I
think I know the answer, but
with Robot Plus Bike, it was at Grub and Groove at an outdoor festival with the kids, playing for the kids, and before that was Del Mar Hall with Fragile Porcelain Mice, opening up for them with the Snake
Ranch. Yeah, totally. Wow.
That was like a dream come true. I'm my age, and I got treated like an actual musician.
Right.
And the people who work there are so nice to you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get treated like that when you're in a regular band touring the country.
Right. That's why it's bad. They get used to that treatment, though, right?
Oh, my gosh.
Can you imagine get treated like that, like every
night? No, I can't imagine it. It doesn't make sense. And we had a few Pave the Rocket moments like that. We played Summerfest up in Milwaukee, and it was a union thing, so our van pulled up, and they unloaded it for us, and then they set the stuff up, and I sat there on the stool while the guy raised my cymbals, and I told him, it was weird.
Yeah.
So it was fun to get, treated like that. And we had a trailer right next to Candlebox. And like, you want to meet Candlebox? I'm like, nah, maybe not.
I'm good. no offense, bro.
We have booze. We're good. So, that's me.
I'd rather get drunk than meet Candlebox.
And it's funny. I diss Candlebox. It's like, they're probably very nice Canadian. I think they're Canadian, aren't they?
Of course they are.
Yeah,
if they're nice, everybody that's nice is Canadian.
Still didn't want to meet them. But anyways, we had a trailer and stuff, and it was very cool. And got to play. The Summerfest is beautiful because the lake's behind the crowd, so you have this crowd of people, and you just look at the lake, so you're not nervous because you're just like, it's just beautiful setting.
That's incredible.
But back to Del Mar Hall, getting to reunite with Snake Ranch. Fragile Porcelain Mice was in that band Dimension 13.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And they played their first show opening up for us, so they repaid us by bringing a crowd in front of these old men who used to play punk rock, and we got to get up there and play punk rock.
So cool, man.
45 minutes, and then I went backstage, got on oxygen, and I hobbled back to my car.
Bro, for real, man. That'll take it out of you, right? Like, you do need some assistance.
I used to beat the crap out of the drums. I have no idea how I used to do that every time.
I don't know either.
It was just, in order to play those songs, you have to just wail on your drums.
You'd have to be.
Yeah.
It's impressive to watch, a band perform.
Yeah.
They do like hours, and it's like, I'd be tired. I'm tired now. And I've just only seen 5 songs, and it's impressive to watch a musician, how fast they do something. It's just like, I'm tired.
Yeah. And in Pave, we used to open up for bands like Shiner, Season of Risk, Molly McGuire, all these amazing Kansas City bands, Dirt Nap.
Yeah.
Just these ridiculously good bands, and they all had way better drummers than me. So it was like pressure was off to be good because I was like, I'm never gonna be as good as these guys. There's amazing drummers in every freaking band.
But drummers love energy, so as long as you can put that energy out there, you're good.
I'm
right?
I'm on oxygen and an IV in the back after the show, and they're effortlessly doing 50 times more than me. But they're so
the first time I got on stage and let it eat vocally, it was
dude,
the same thing, dude. It was like, I need air.
You came out guns a-blazing.
I did.
Yeah,
dude.
you were
had no idea what I was doing.
And you know what? It didn't matter that you got tired because you murdered everybody right off the bat. It was great. So yeah.
So anyway, man. So okay. So we're talking music. I remember when's the last? Do you recall the last time that you played at Firebird? Because I'm trying to remember.
I think that was with Stella Mora when I played with Stella Mora. I was the drummer for Stella Mora.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and I think that would have been the last time at Firebird. I can't remember who we played with. We played with Perry Pellinero's band there. I can't, and Kim Welsh. I can't remember which was our last show, but we had a really good last show. We broke up abruptly, and it wasn't anything to do with me. It was, two members had been together for a long time. They're like, we're done. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But
I was liking that.
Yeah.
Thanks for the memo.
Yeah. Right. Still great people, but when you're in a band for a while. But I think that was the last time was with them.
Right.
So.
Okay. I was just curious because I remembered seeing you there. But not knowing it, and I don't know. I'm not sure why.
I played there with Operation Rock too. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I don't recall.
Yeah, Tune Down to C, super low.
Yeah,
like Meshuggah tuning and stuff.
Oh yeah. I'd have to go back through all my tickets and like I need a recipe box, dude. Yeah. Like with alphabetical like cards in it or whatever.
Right. That or years.
Oh, we don't want to go there. I don't want to go there because they got an 8 and an 8 in them and an 8 and a 9, and I don't really want to talk about that. That's showing our age, but so okay, so you go from being a young man living a home that many of us are familiar with, like it's you get money to eat, and you're happy about that, right? You've got a roof and you're happy about that, right? A little different for all of us now. At least a little bit, right? Because if we don't like our situation, we can change it. Yeah. Well, you embraced yours, like so many of us have, and you went on to school, and you went on to one heck of a career. But let's talk about going from working for the man to not working for the man, to working for yourself, because that's something that I've always adored about you, is that you've got the knowledge and the ability to do what you've got to do at a 30,000-foot view. But you're also the guy to get down in the weeds and do your own thing and tell the man to go to hell. You don't need him. So you've already said that you thought it was a good point in your life to go back to work, at least for a company. I hate to call him the man. I mean, it's a good, respectable company.
Yeah.
What is that like to leave a big corporation? I know I've done it. I know what it did for me. But that moment that you decide, like, I think I can do this, like, for myself.
That was a complete mental thing. It was like I didn't like the company anymore. I didn't like the people anymore. It had nothing to do with that. It was more of I felt at that place, I had done everything I could do, and there were changes that I believed that needed to be made, and my partners, who were business partners of mine, I totally respect that, didn't feel like going that direction, and so I was just, when something eats at you, like anyone knows, you have to change that.
Absolutely.
Totally.
There's acceptance for some things, but there's not acceptance for something that you can control. And if you keep accepting something you can't control, it's a bad feeling.
Well, you become the problem too. Like if you just accept it, right? Yeah. That's like all this.
Then you just, you're absorbing what needs to be changed, and then you become a bigger part of the mass problem.
Right. Yeah. It's okay to be a greasy, or a greasy. Hey, you'll get that. I'm coming back to that. To be a squeaky cog.
Right.
But you need to be greased. You need to be able to know the things. You can't just be yelling at the bottom.
Right.
Right. You've got to know what you're talking about.
Right. Absolutely.
Right?
So,
anyway.
So that was reason one. Reason two was I thought to myself, if I can be closer to my young daughter and see her more and work, even if I have to work more, that was just something I wanted to do too. And, luckily up until she got into school, I did that,
Yeah.
And there's just no, it's crazy. A lot of people, I feel very lucky for that because a lot of people don't have that choice, just in the way society is and the way our culture is. And I think, one thing this pandemic has shown everybody is that versatility is okay. Amen. And you can still some people can still make money and I feel so bad for the businesses that haven't been able to do it. But, I was very lucky. I got to work on my own for a while. It was absolutely heavenly. But then I started working 7 days a week, every day, nonstop.
I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, and I wasn't sleeping. Yeah, you can't turn it off.
Yeah,
I remember my therapist will tell you if she I'm sure everything she does is confidential, but if my therapist wasn't confidential, she would tell you I have a problem with turning anything off and stopping working and I always have to have projects and that'll kill you. Like I really want to know what people are. I really want to learn to turn the computer off at the end of the day and then go get on a boat or do do something other than, oh man, I have all this stuff I have to do before I die.
Well, have we got some ideas for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I completely feel you. And like my wife gets on me with my job that I'll get done. It's like, I think it was the other night, like it just nonstop. And I was just like, it doesn't stop. It's 24/7 of people. And it's just like, there is no off switch. And it's hard for me too. Cause like I'm saying, well, the past couple of days I wake up, I'm like, it's time to get up and work out. We're nowhere near it. We're 2-3 hours prior. And I'm like, oh God, you got to try and like sleep. Like, but no, it's the same thing for me. I mean, I'm at that project, but my brain won't shut off. It's like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. I got to do that. And it's like, but it's because it's demand of the responsibility of all the other people that I got to make sure I'm taking care of. And it's just like,
I can't believe I'm going to admit this.
Applaud you in your decision to do what you
did. The other night, and it was me. It had nothing to do with the people I work with or anything, but I got changes back on something. I love night showers now. So the pandemic, I used to take them in the morning. Now it's like at night, go to bed clean. It's something.
Yeah, it's very refreshing, isn't it?
Right? Yeah.
Like a
so I've switched.
detox. Yeah,
it is. It really is.
I agree.
So I take my shower. I'm wearing comfy clothes. I get in there. I go to bed and I lay down. I kid you not. My daughter wasn't with me this night. I laid my head down. I was like, I'm just going to go finish that thing real quick. I woke up out of the bed and I walked in there and I finished this thing. So it was in the inbox of the people. They didn't ask me for that. But mentally, I'm like, I have to get this off my plate, right?
Yeah.
And that's messed up.
I don't think it's messed up. I think it's okay. Let me try to put this into perspective for people that haven't been around our world.
Yeah.
Right. And yours is even different than mine, but some people have no idea what this crazy bubble is like when people depend on you for a end result. Yeah. Right. People depend on you for a product. They don't depend on you to sit there half the day. Maybe you get on Facebook. No. When they call or come, you owe them something.
Yeah.
And there's no excuse. If you own it or if you're in charge of something or if you're a director like you are, there's no excuse.
Right.
Right? So those pressures are on us.
Yeah.
And we allow them to control us when we're not even working.
Yeah.
And that's something that Jeff and I have talked about at great lengths, both on and off the microphones, is being able to recenter yourself so you can make that decision like, yeah, I do want to go, I need to work for someone else for a while, or no, I just need a break is what I need. I just need a mental, like a me, like day.
Yeah.
And let's just start there because it's hard to even have a day, right, Jeff?
Yeah. And it's literally for like me recently, and we talked about this. I'm glad the pandemic happened, not for what it's done to people, businesses, for what society needed. We needed a reset.
Yeah.
I've never been, I think, in the past couple of years, been so happy because I've got to see my wife more, my daughter more, do things with them more. And it's like I told Jeremy, and like maybe at some point you do, but I do get the same thing of like, I got to get it done. I got to get it done. I get that too. But like finally came to the point like, oh, off. Cool. I'm going to do this for a little bit, and I still will check it periodically, but it's not like I have to be glued to do it.
Yeah.
Like I can wait till Sunday night to do a few odd end things before the week starts. I'm like, just give me an hour. I just got to do this.
Yeah.
Whereas before it'd be like Saturday, a few times, Sunday.
For real, man. Same.
It's just like, it takes time. Still trying to get better at it, but it's a better progress. But I think I've grown more with the pandemic stuff because it forced the reset that many of us needed.
Right. So my advice for my therapist: cut it out.
That was it. That was the advice.
She was like, cut it out.
Oh,
that's
really nice, easy to follow directions.
Right? I'm like, did
that come with a fucking book this thick?
Yeah, I know. I was like, you're absolutely
right. They're bullet points.
You're absolutely. She's right about everything. She's amazing. I just, that was one of those things I talked to her about because I don't know what to do when I don't have something to do, and that's a messed up.
How you turn it off?
Yeah, that's a messed up thing.
And we've got.
I tell you what, I revisited the drums over the pandemic, and I've been taking lessons from when I was a kid, I had drum lessons from John Fornajeski in Granite City, the drum shop in Granite City, Illinois.
Right.
His son has taken over, Stan Fornajeski, who studied with, he worked with Buddy Rich. He's been on The Tonight Show.
Right.
He's a big band jazz. I mean, with the stuff he does on Zoom it just pisses me off. It's so amazing.
Right.
Total independence, just this field drummer. And so I Zoom with him every week, and I take lessons, and I kind of learned jazz over the break. I've never known that language. That was a foreign language to me. It was
you did something for you, though.
Yeah, I did. So I did something for me, and I my drum kit set up at my house, and I'm playing again. And it's like another thing the pandemic's done is it's like, okay, I made myself do that, and it's the greatest thing. And it's so great that I did because
totally.
Yeah. And so years of playing drums in bands, my left foot's never been truly independent from the rest of my body.
It's hard to break, isn't it?
Yeah, and now it is. It's crazy. Like that left foot is keeping time while I'm doing crazy times over here, and it's like I've been trying to do that. I'm 51 years old. I've been trying to break that for 40 years playing drums.
Right.
And I broke it just this month.
But you'd never tried to learn that discipline before either, had you?
No. And I didn't have the right person teaching me that discipline.
That's even more.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This guy,
you could probably speak to that to martial arts, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like you think in the beginning of I can think back to very first days, didn't even have a gi, didn't even have a belt. And I was practicing with the U.S. martial arts team, the local or Midwest region when they got together. And, the head instructor of the entire U.S. team was from our area, and I'm like, oh yeah, just do this. I got some track pants on and t-shirt, and it's just doing this, and he's like, oh, left side. And it's like, wait, but I'm right-handed. I'm dominant, except for I'm goofy. I hit left-handed baseball and anything with a club. So goofy in that sense, but I'm like this and that, and he's like, oh, you're doing fine. Just do this a little bit, and it's just like, well, this isn't so hard. But then certain things, it's it takes timing to do, but it's just and the simple thing is any musician can relate is, well, you have a left and right side. Why don't you use it both equally?
Right.
But yet, as a kid, you're and I can. It's not. I play no musical instruments. I can play guitar hero and rock band. That doesn't even count. But you think you're trying to take a pen. I write right-handed, but you go left-handed.
So why weren't we forced to do that shit?
Yeah.
You think,
right?
Well, you see these little kids, these YouTube videos, these kids pitching. Their parents have made them learn how to switch hands.
Yeah.
But to think that, and that's a good martial arts concept. You have two sides to your body. You have a front, you have a back, you have a left and your right. Movement in martial arts is an asterisk. So you think you should be able to move every which way. So should you be able to control your body every which way. Yeah. So that's good. But look how long it took you.
It did.
That'd be no different than any of us. Yeah. Me at 36.
And I'm not trying to undo. Yet, but I broke that spell. He wanted me to put on a sling on my right hand for a month and use my left hand for everything unless I was working.
That's genius.
I know, and I almost want to do it. And every time I start, I'm like, I can't take it. It's so hard.
But make sure you move into other stuff. Your arm, you're gonna be get done it's gonna be so skinny.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. But think about it. It's like you're so used to make the coffee, right? And it's like if by adding that, and it's so that's what he's working. So he got my left foot independent. Now I'm working on my left hand with the rudiments and stuff. Wow. Leading with it.
Okay, so if you would have learned them both when you were, let's just say maybe not 11, but
I started when I was
I know you
below
did,
10,
but when you let's say so when you started why in the world? This is a very hypothetical. Wouldn't somebody say, "Oh, cool, now do it this way too. Yeah. Turn your body, do this way too."
My teacher was doing it. It was because it was his dad, but I was in books then. I was using books, so that's cheating. Damn. Because when you're reading music in the books, you have that crutch of looking at it and doing it, right?
Oh, sure, yeah, and you can never be fluid with that.
Right.
It's always reactionary.
Yeah, because when you play drums, the muscle memory comes first, and then feeling comes later. Yes. There's no room for feeling at the beginning unless you're Keith Moon or some crazy.
Same with martial arts.
So, exactly.
It's muscle repetition. You know, they say like when you earn your first degree, your first black belt, cool, you master the basics.
Yeah.
You know how to throw this kick 1,000 times. You know how to do it. Do this to the punch.
Right.
Cool. Now you go into your higher degrees. Now, why do you do it this way?
Right.
Why did you hit here versus here? So same thing. So music,
cool.
like to think that like it comes, it's muscle memory. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Now touch and form and everything else comes, but I attempted to play guitar in my life and it didn't get very far. So I can't, I have no musical background.
Right, but I really think the only thing behind any of this is just discipline.
I agree too.
And access.
Yes.
Right. Like if you live next to a boxing gym, chances are you're probably going to be a pretty good boxer, right?
If you keep your head in that game and stick into it, exactly.
And the same, and I know you were in this world when you were younger, or at least around it, but like in the skateboarding world as a young kid, if you weren't near a hot spot, you weren't gonna progress into that.
Right.
You couldn't just get into that arena and not know what's going on. Yeah. Right. You got to be a part of it to be a part of it. That's hard.
Yeah.
Whether you're into martial arts or music or whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and why I'm saying that is I wish somebody would have taught me to do things with my left foot and my left hand, because I would have progressed in skateboarding a hell of a lot farther, or playing quarterback, or pitching the baseball, anything as a kid.
I think about that as like a pitcher. Like, my wife was a collegiate softball pitcher. Now our daughter, who knows if she'll play softball, but like to think that like, okay, you're 8, no, stop. Put this. Then her gymnastics coach would be honest, because you do this. But like to think the body, if you really look at it as a whole, is like a lot of ancient people did. You have to balance it, but we don't do that anymore in this day and age. We want speed. We need X amount of things done, so you do it to your efficiency for speed. You don't do it for the quality of balance.
Well, and you're older than either of us, so you've seen it a little bit longer than we have, even. And you've got a young child. You're older than me, and you got a child younger than me, which is an insane place for any of us to be.
Right.
Well done, just on that. But why is it that when we were younger, we picked something up for the first time and immediately we're told, oh, look, you're right-handed?
Well, back in the day, they would slap the hell out of their left hand because teachers didn't want to teach.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The left hand just gets in the way. And the left hand messes up all the graphite, right?
Yeah, even in like when I first started doing martial arts, we had a switch, but then I went to MMA and started doing boxing. And my one coach goes, all right, now you're going southpaw. It's like, oh, okay. And it's just a matter of moving my feet differently and everything like that. But it was fluid to me. But a lot of coaches won't do southpaw like movements because it's like, okay, oh wait, you feel so awkward. But it's like
hard.
You have to. If you got someone like that, you can't you can't reshape them. It's like telling them how to walk.
Wow, you think John Jones or Conor McGregor or any of these guys
flip,
dude? Their entire everything, they are at perfect harmony, perfect balance. Some of the world's best drummers, I can only imagine, go through years of yoga and meditation and trying to learn how to really stay at balance. You see some of those drummers.
Oh, their body control is insane. To think that you can independently move 4 limbs.
Yes. Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah. Thomas Hockey.
It's nuts watching these guys.
He's an alien.
He's an alien.
Humans can't even do that. It's and of course Neil, the late great Neil Peart.
I hate that we have to say that now.
Yeah, I know. It's I've been reading a lot about him, and it's just it's unbelievable how they could separate their thing. And as my teacher's telling me now, he's like, you keep thinking it's separation. It's not. It's actually how it's working together. You quit thinking about it.
Have you heard of
separated
EMDR or like tapping therapies? It's where you get your left brain and right brain to undo years of the bullshit that we've been taught and trained.
Yep.
Like, no, you don't do it like this. You can only do it like this, right? Feast or famine and fight or flight.
Yeah.
It's all in the same place, but those aren't the same places where, analytical thinking and creativity, these parts of our brains need to come back together again. Yeah. I had to go to therapy. I'd love to still be going. I just haven't had a chance to get back in it. But during your therapy, you may have like little electrodes that just pulse.
That's cool.
But what I've been able to do, and just because my therapist told me about it and what I've read about, is just anywhere I'm at, if I'm in a situation that may be a little like, okay, like this is getting out of hand, I'm getting angry, I really don't agree with this person, I just start tapping like on my knees or my legs, and nobody will ever even know it, but it helps get me centered again. It helps get me balanced to where I'm not thinking all with one part of my brain or the other.
Almost like the fidget spinners and the little cubes. And
sort of. Sort of. That would occupy you.
To get that aspect of the brain, that small focus that pulls you back from the picture. So, exactly like what you're saying.
So I do that. And then the other thing that I do right now is a Rubik's Cube.
Oh yeah.
Without anything else. I might have some music playing, but if I do, I usually got headphones on.
Yeah. Noises. Time you one episode, see how fast you can do one?
No.
Okay.
That's not the point. And I've yet to the point, and my daughter said, why don't you look it up? The point is that this has taken me a long time. Yeah. The point is that I keep coming back to it. Just like with meditation, just like with trying to recenter yourself. It's I'm not focusing on anything else right now but this stupid little plastic cube of colors. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And if somebody else gets into it, I'm sorry.
Well, like we talked about last week, day one of Sam Harris's stuff.
Yes.
And his thing exactly is teaching you that, you know, you listen to his very first intro, he's talking like, you might find my voice annoying, people think I talk too much. But then, you know, I did his day one today. I was like, I'm going to do it on Monday. Well, you know, did the old adage. So I started that, you know, yesterday. But, you know, his day one yesterday, it was just like, pay really close attention as you breathe it in and then you let it out. Pay attention to it. This is going to be the hard part, to turn off what everything else is.
Yeah, dude.
And I did it after my workout this morning. I was like, I cooled down a little bit, and I'm going to lay and I'll sit in the garage gym, and I'm just like, but then my brain would seem like you're talking about your gym's like, what's going on? It's like, shut up. I'm going to smack myself. And it took me a little bit, you know, because I can do meditation, but it was like in that moment, my brain was now wired for everything else.
Yes.
But to sit there and listen to his voice, it's those same things of you have to get that one aspect of your brain to focus on the very, very minute detail to ignore. And obviously no one's up. There's nothing else going on in my garage at the time.
Of course.
But my brain is the biggest distraction. So it's, again, aligning the left to the right to say, hey, here's where we need to be for that moment.
Yeah. That's something that Jimmy, I think would do wonders for your life, the entirety, the big picture of your life. Because when you get in those moments just like I do, and you're depressed, you're in your own head, you're out of your mind, whatever you want to call it, this has been the only thing that's gotten me back. And I get to go back so much faster than what I did before. I might have a day where I'm like, this is not good. I'm mad at myself. I'm ashamed about whatever it is. But I damn well better be. And so far, I'm pretty good at it. By that night, I'm back in line. I'm good. I'm not going to bed all fucked up.
Yeah.
And I would have never been able to do it if it wasn't for this stupid active I shouldn't say stupid, but I used to say, it's whatever. I don't need that. But this thing is putting me back in my place.
Yeah.
I've been out of my place for a long time. And it's no wonder that we're not all out of our place all the time. Yeah. Right? I mean, we have no breaks. I mean, the mask that you wore today proves it.
Yeah.
It's such a crazy time today.
Yeah.
And I think that I'll send you a link to something and just give it a chance. I know you're a very open-minded man.
And I do meditate. That's a big thing.
Good.
Yeah. An article that came out right at the beginning of the quarantine was about actually listening to music, because we do stuff while we listen to music.
Yeah. It's background, right?
And it's background. Yeah. So like, you know, the article is about, especially people like me who love turntables and reel-to-reels and old analog stuff. It's like, put the music on and sit there and listen to it and don't do anything else.
Right.
And it's like, you would be surprised where that takes you and what that does. It's a form of meditation, because like I actually had a meditation coach for a while.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Nice.
So a guy from the Buddhist center over in St. Louis, and they wouldn't accept money. But they asked for a donation. So and he taught me, you know, the basics of meditation, and that struggle for you to focus on your breath and eventually nothing is a real struggle, but it's a great struggle. Like there's no downside to the struggle. The whole time you're trying to get to that space, it works. And no, meditation's big. And Watershed out in Edwardsville. If I can't meditate,
that's a great walk.
I go there, and I'm probably there 3-4 times a week, you know, a couple times with my kid or whatever. But it's like just getting in nature and listening to that
Yeah.
You know, I bring the AirPods first half around cool, and then I take them out. You know,
Yeah, dude,
take
that's
them out
good.
and
Like
then
a warm up.
Listen, and let it go, and it's all quiet then because you know you're cranking Motorhead or whatever until
some sugar.
Yeah, exactly.
It's trying to relax.
Dude, I listen to them way too much.
I know you do. That's why I said it.
I think I have a problem.
Well,
It's the repetition.
So I'm glad to hear that, but you brought up some good points about meditation. That's something we've been talking about a lot here. For those of our listeners and viewers that haven't gotten around to it yet, it's life-changing.
Yeah,
we've already said that. But now more than ever, we need to be able to find a way to recenter. And I think that you brought up some good resources here locally, but everybody's got somebody around them that does this and does it well. And you also brought up another good point, that it's not exactly the meditating that is, or what you get out of meditating is the reward. It's that knowing that you're going back to something that you suck at.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're trying to get better.
Yeah.
And there's nobody else that can help you get better.
Right.
There's no secret sauce. There's no nothing. But you go from, and trust me, because I've seen both ends of the spectrum during my time doing this now, albeit a very short time, admittingly. I've gone from being the guy that just squirrel after shiny object, after like I can't keep my.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so difficult. Like you said, you meditate. But for some reason that day, that minute.
And doing something different, because I usually don't do whim stuff till later in the day.
Yeah.
But I think my brain was so turned on from working out. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do Sam's stuff in the morning. I'll do my whim later like I normally do. So maybe I got to flip-flop it. You know, I did it again this morning too, and it was like, okay. And I was like, I even paused he was like 10 seconds in. I was like, pause. Okay. Get your head clear.
Yeah.
Just lay here. Nothing else is going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Go. Yeah. Boom. Hit play. Resumed it. But like, it's those things. But like when I do whims and you're doing his 30, 40 in with the breath out, you know, much quicker. And then I'm doing these breath holds, and you have to remain calm because exactly like you said, you're holding your breath now and you're feeling all this run through your body. First instinct of most people's minds is, oh shit, like you got to gasp for air, but then you realize like he's like exactly like he says in the app, he's like, listen to your heart, you know, he's doing all this, and it's just like this. I got to like 3 minutes and 4 seconds of a breath hold, longest I've ever done the other day, and I was sitting there like literally, and I like heard the 1 minute because he'll like 1 minute and it chimes and it's like 2, and it's like, okay, this is normally when your mind hears that 2 minute mark, you start to freak a little internally, you know. I'm still holding it, and it's just like this, and I'm staring at my eyelids. I always lay down flat and do it. I'm just, you know, staring, seeing all these crazy colors that my eyelids are appearing and all that. It's like, okay, it's going to be getting close. Like, don't focus on the time. Just relax. And as he's like, you know, feel your body, feel your heart. Did it again. I was like, okay. And I just imagined water running around me, flushing my entire, body out. Like, that's keeping me calm. The 3 minute mark came, and I'm like, okay, cool. I feel pretty good. Hold a little bit. And it's like, nope. But because I think my brain heard it, and then unfortunately I couldn't keep that aspect calm. I hit it, and you hit it. It's just like, but then you do a 15-second breath hold after you hit the timer in the app because it'll time it. Then it'll do a 15-second breath hold, and did it. You know, you hold that, and you're like, and that was my third repetition of it. And I was like, wow, like feel very rejuvenated, but it's like you have to really get so deep into it, you know. And now Sam will
lost
talk,
into
it.
Yeah.
But with that, because you're holding your breath, like I got so into it, I was just like, man, it's like, this is nuts. Like I never felt so calm for 3 some odd minutes when there's no oxygen coming into the body. You're just.
Jim, have you ever experienced anything crazy when meditating? Because I mean, you did it, you were involved. Have you ever been able? Because we all know it's all about that struggle inside there, trying to keep your focus, right?
Yeah.
And just when you think you've lost or you've gained complete control over your focus, your mind, you know, kicks your ass and you start thinking about, you know, lollipops in Brazil or something. I don't know, like some crazy shit.
Yeah.
But were you ever able to do it to where you were to get yourself to a point where maybe you were in a different state?
Yes.
Okay.
With the coach, it was one specific time that was better than the rest. And I don't know what happened, but what happened was, we were at his house, and he had the setup, and he had a cat, and the cat would of course you're meditating and then the cat comes, hey, what's up? I'm going to rub against you. I'm a cat. That's what I do. So,
a great little challenge.
Yeah. And I remember the cat rubbed up against me and I was like, I just kind of smiled because, what else can you do?
Yeah.
Right.
And then the cat goes away. And then I remember coming to. So obviously I had meditated so deep that I was gone. Like I was in a great place. And when I came to, he rings he has those bowls,
like the sound bowl or whatever. Yeah.
And he did it. And he goes, I have to tell you, I barely heard anything out of you. I think that was a good one. I was like, where am I? Like, I didn't even know where I was. It was so intense and great. And that's the what you strive for, because that's the restart of the computer, like the human computer. It's like, boom, restarting.
I'm telling you, I have one.
Yeah.
And I told him I got to bring it in sometime to do it. But like my martial arts coach did like a bell that I think he got either from Korea, China, Japan, somewhere over there. I don't remember where he got it, but he would do that after practices and talking about we could have pummeled each other for 2-3 hours or whatever we did. If we did, chi work, energy work, you get done. It's just like that sound. And you're like, man, I'm beat. And you sit there and you're like in Seiza and it's like, wow, I feel refreshed.
Yeah.
Dude.
That flipping a little bit.
Yes.
We'd sit there for 5 minutes and meditate, but those sounds, those,
isn't that cool?
I think that
those singing bowls,
timing
all those
too.
things. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. In different sizes, and it's crazy to think like you get this giant bowl and you're thinking it's going to be like wow, but it's like minimal. But like I don't know.
It's a frequency.
What
It's just the sound.
These
It's
Himalayan singing bowls, and Nepalese, and all that, and Indians, because it comes from many different countries. But man, that pitch just they have down to science can't explain. I don't think still to this day, even with all the audible things that they can do to the brain, it just hits you and you're like, wow.
Yeah. There is a book out right now, and I've not read it yet. My friend Doug was just telling me about it. They have found out, a neurologist has found out that there are things about Buddhism that are actually tied to the study of brain and brain waves so tight that it's it's scary. It's
There's a reason why the Gregorian chant is at a certain frequency.
Right.
And that goes back to Gregorian chant. That's the first music ever recorded.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So those Buddhists were onto something. No, I'm not going
Yeah.
to say something prolific.
I know,
there.
right? Like, hey, we should probably look into those guys.
Right, yeah. No, but it's I've read the basic books, the art of Zen and the basics of Zen Buddhism, but there's something bigger to it. And it's just a shame more people don't. Again, go back to what they teach in school. It's a shame that
you've got away from what, like you said, you go out in nature, and Jeremy's talked about.
Yeah,
we've got away from the elements of the world.
Yeah,
there's too many distractions of electronics, society, cities, all this outside noise that Mother Nature has been doing it all along. None of us can speak it and get back to it because, again, like us, we have problems turning the mind off to see it.
I'm going to go back a little bit there, and regarding getting your mind to turn off. Timing, I think, is a vital part when you're just learning how to meditate.
Oh yeah,
because like you were amped up, you worked out. No normal person that hasn't stepped into this arena and is well versed will be able to play well, because it's going to to be your brain is going crazy.
And I tried it when my body was amped up, and it's like, oh, let's see if we can do it. And it's an experiment on myself.
It is, and it's good to be able to do those things. Like later on in Sam's meditation series or whatever, he goes on to talk about how if you have these days where you just can't seem to meditate, it's okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, come back tonight, come back tomorrow, whatever.
Yeah.
But something that I found was if I do it first thing in the morning, no shit, I usually have on a zip-up hoodie in my house or whatever. I'll grab my hoodie, zip it up, run downstairs, hop on my couch. I don't have to do it there, but I haven't done anything yet. I haven't brushed my teeth. I don't even keep my phone next to my bed anymore. I finally, thank God, got free of that. So I grab my phone because the app is on it, run downstairs, grab some water, make sure there's not going to be anything distracting me. The phone is off. Everything's good.
Yeah.
I do my thing. And more times than not now, I've been able to get myself to a place that I used to think I was elevating to, but now I call it falling back down into. Because what'll happen is, let's just say I do it the typical way, hands are on my knees, legs folded, whatever. The more upright my spine is and the more locked in I am, and the more I ignore the little tingly feelings or the things that are on my knee itches, It's just the more I ignore those, I know they're there.
Yeah.
I just ignore them. I don't have to say, oh, well, yeah, let me get my hand out. Let me fuck up everything I'm doing just to scratch my nose.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No. As soon as I learned how to do that, along with just being okay with not really knowing what I was doing, I couldn't feel that my hands were on my knees anymore.
Yes.
I couldn't feel that my back was so perfectly straight that I would be agonizing in pain in any other session, any other day. But now I get to that place, and it's like this, it's almost like you're like floating is what it feels like. It feels like you're floating, like you're coming out of your own body. And then all of a sudden, everything just goes and gets so devoid or so void of anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing. And any thought that does try to come in, it's laughable. It's like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why I've been able to get to that place so quickly, but when I do my steps right, when I don't try to do something first, when I don't let something else get in the way, when I stick to my plan, it's so beautiful. And I don't even know what's happening. I just know that when I come to, like you so eloquently mentioned, because that's what it feels like, you almost wake up, I come to with, I have to write. I have so many things that oh my God, why am I thinking about this? And it's in great detail. And so like ever since that started happening, I started jotting things down and writing. And then I realized, oh my God, I've got enough information here. I'm going to write a book. Like this is crazy shit that I'm thinking about. I'm going to write a book about it. Yeah. So right now I'm in just the writing stage, but you know how that goes. So we'll see how that works out.
Have you guys tried Nidra yoga?
No, the yoga I've done has been just this typical yoga, and then the Diamond Dallas Page yoga.
Okay.
Because I want to be cognizant of my back injuries. Yeah. And he's a retired professional wrestler. And it's all about how do we do this, but we can sort of modify it like this. So no.
Yeah, my friend Natalie, she's in Hawaii. She's from Edwardsville, but she teaches Nidra. And she was home for Christmas a couple years ago and did it at the yoga studio by my house, Gaia. Right. And so what Nidra does is the teacher, you do very basic yoga, nothing difficult, because in other words, I would be on my face and then I would be passing gas and all the
getting oxygen again.
Right. All the normal stuff. That's why I can't take yoga.
Right.
But so very basic yoga stuff, yoga moves, and she's talking the entire class. So you get used to her voice in a very low monochromatic way. She's talking and coaching you. And then you get into I kid you not, you get into a laying down position. You're laying there with a pillow and you have stuff under your knee. You're totally comfortable. And then she talks you into a state of a meditative state.
Yeah.
So, and she takes you down there, and when you're so sad when she's like, okay, now let's get up. We're done. Because you're like, no, keep talking. So it's what I'm thinking. It's probably pretty cool. Is it's a good gateway for meditation, because if you took that, if you take that type of yoga, they get you into that place and you understand it. You're like, oh, that's why I should meditate, because I see what it feels. She just made me do it.
Yeah.
So check that out. It's very cool.
I will. And what's the name of it again?
Nidra, Nidra.
And that is a form or a yoga. Practice of yoga. Okay, well, thank you.
And they have podcasts and things where you can go listen to people remotely just to do it.
Yeah,
you don't have to be there. But when you're in person, you're in for other people, and everyone's just in this state. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the energy in that room would have to be insane.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Everyone can get on that plane.
Yeah. That's like what we talked about last week. I said, man, when you left, I went and I meditated because you could feel it. And it was
very refreshed, energized. It's just like
it was perfect, man. I went and I sat on that couch by myself and had nothing bothering me, turned all the lights off, and I just went, and I went hard. Yeah. I mean, it was like when my session was over, I was not over.
Right.
Like I heard something saying, okay, you've reached your mark. And I was like, now I'll leave whenever I'm ready to leave, because this is too damn good.
I was thinking about Uncle Rico and Napoleon Dynamite when Deb takes his picture and he's like, oh, he's all like, where was I? And I was like, yeah, that's where I was. I was Uncle Rico.
The tiny seahorses.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
That's fantastic,
man. Oh man. Well, I I don't want to go too far here, and I got just a couple more things to say. One of them, I want to make sure that it's clear. Abundantly clear for our listeners that we didn't ask you, Jim, to be on here as just our first guest. You know how I feel about our relationship, and I'll tell a little bit of a story here. Try not to make it too long, but the day I walked in to Jim's office, it was behind a barbershop. You had to go through the barbershop to get to it in Edwardsville, Eaker's Barbershop. Yeah. I'd never even painted no mind. I wasn't an Edwardsvillian. I was, from Troy. And so I walk in, and she's like, oh, yeah, he's back there. Okay. So I start walking back there. And earlier, do you remember whenever I asked you if you realized that moment when you were like, I think I can do this. I'm going to go work for myself? Yeah. That was my moment. That was my
awesome.
moment. So
that's awesome.
So thank you for that again.
You're welcome.
So you have done more for me, my mental health, and the well-being of my family.
Oh, I'm honored.
Than anybody else I know.
That's awesome.
And I'm sincere about that. Okay. Yeah. I'm very thankful for you being in my life when you have been, and all the way up to now, and hopefully a long future. You don't just get to even where I'm at with a company or a brand without people like Jimmy in your corner. And if I had a problem, if I had an issue, I didn't know what the fuck to do, I reached out to you, and you're always there. Awesome. You can't say that about a lot of people.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that are coming willing to bat for that.
That's right. And no matter the cause, you were there to help better someone else, just like we talked about earlier. So right here, right now, in our little bitty podcast, in our little bitty video, whatever, I just want it to be known that what you do is amazing. And please don't stop.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that.
No, absolutely, brother. Please don't stop.
I have to tell you, so I'll pay it back.
He's going to flip this shit on me. You watch him.
I'm gonna flip it for real. So, it's funny, like I have so many people I've met over the years in this capacity. Of course. And, but what you gave me the freedom to do for your brand was something that was so good. I got a lot of work just based on that. Like even, I went to, because people are like, man, I love that, and it's like, that's when they see that in your book, they're like, I want that.
Yes. Yes.
And then I always say, well, he also let me do cool stuff, so you need to step back if you want that. I'm kidding.
No, but you're right. You do have to relinquish some of that control as a creator.
Yeah, you do. And so even the wonderful people I work for now at Toki, and the other day somebody was like, hey, we want to enter that barrel in a design thing. When did it come out? It was the year before, so they couldn't put it in the new design, because they love that work too, and it's one of the reasons why I'm there and working with people much smarter than me and continue to learn at my age. But
sure,
I was on the phone with a client the other day, and she was like, every time we work together, we get off the call excited.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all supposed to do for each other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're supposed to inspire each other.
Right.
And that's more of that in the world.
I agree.
Totally.
And honesty too. It's not like everyone who comes in, you're like, oh, it's a terrible idea, I'm not going to work on it, it's not going to go anywhere. No, that's not how you approach it. Your approach, what do I have? How do we make it work?
Right.
How do we make it great?
Mm-hmm.
And people, when you're in the industry I'm in, people come to you with their dreams. Oh. They're not coming to you. A lot of people are coming in with the product or a large company, and I'm working on much bigger clients now.
Of course.
But for the most part, especially when I was in Edwardsville, and even prior to that, and now at Toki, people come to you. This is either a dream of theirs, or it's a dream about their career to go to that next stage, to put out something great, to get noticed. You cannot take that lightly. I'm actually, it's crazy. A friend of mine is in from New Jersey tonight who I'm meeting for dinner after this. His name's Martin Beal. He's a third generation ad guy.
Yeah.
His dad was Mad Men era people.
Yeah, totally.
And Martin is a brilliant writer, one of the smartest people I know. He's got a blog called The Agency Review where he interviews a lot of marketing books stuff. Okay. Check it out.
Cool.
Okay. Awesome.
Martin told me, I just quoted him. That wasn't my line. Don't take it lightly. He was like, you have when people come to you with this, you don't blow it off. Don't make it a job. That's not our thing. Our thing is to take it very seriously and think of every possible way that you can make their product or their service or their thing better.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never really thought of it like that. That's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But that makes you do a better job because you care.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. And then the other thing about your product coming in, you came in and you're like, hey, I got this little beard oil. I think I'm going to do some stuff. Because you were kind of low key about it, you guys.
I was,
yeah,
really low
key.
And
I was like, oh my gosh, dude, this is insane. I don't even know what this is. I've never even experienced anything like this. This is, there's beard oils out there, but this isn't that.
No kidding.
Right, yeah.
The aging and the fearless, I'm going to put tobacco in it and I'm going to smoke this and put it in there, so you brought it in and I put it on and it was just like, oh my gosh, this is new. This is different and exciting. And so, it's a little easier to do great work when you got something that inspires you like that. So and then, then I think it was like 2-3 months later, we get the product out. It goes out there. It's like, oh yeah, I'm talking so-and-so in this metal band. They're going to be doing this. I'm having a party with 400 people. We're going to have 3 bands, blah, blah, blah. And then you said the thing that made me cry and weep, which was Bert's Chuck Wagon is going to be there at the party. To me, that's Mecca, the greatest food in the world.
That's like such good, crazy blue collar food, man.
But you were doing the thing that I love doing, and that's you don't just put out something independently, you bring people together.
Yes.
That always works.
That most people don't do.
Yeah. When I was at Boxing Clover, we, my team did this thing with Corey Miller from LA Inc., the Tawaka stuff.
Yeah.
And then we got our other client, Crosley, involved, and we made a bar out of their turntable. Bring people together. You'd be surprised how much more can happen if you bring people, even if they doesn't seem like they belong together. Dude,
I've gotten so many projects and like meetings and whatever that even if they didn't provide financially, they provide in the future somehow.
Yeah. Right.
Just from working with other people.
Right.
And it was just being selective.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to work with everybody.
Right.
But there's a lot of people out there that,
absolutely
really good to work with.
Yeah.
And we like to think that we bring some things to the party, like we went from being the guys that were like, can we tag along, to now we're saying, hey, do you want to come and hang out with us?
Right.
And I think that that's a very important line, that it's a boundary that you're like, hey, this is mine, but you're all invited and part of it.
Right. And
when you have yours, you ain't going to hear a peep from me, but I'll be there enjoying it.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's the thing. That's that I help you, you help me. And the next thing you know, we're introducing each other to somebody that's doing much bigger things and wants us to be a part of it.
Right.
And it happens every day.
Pretty cool power of connection.
Yeah.
To where it can
Absolutely.
go.
Well, it's okay. And this is going to sound really corny, but when I talked about putting my hands on my knees and after meditating a certain way for a certain while, I don't feel them there anymore.
Yeah.
When you reach out across that aisle or out amongst your friends and hand and you're doing a project and this and that, you don't have hands anymore.
Right.
You're all joined.
Yeah.
And the energy that you get from each other or you give to one another is not something that you can plan for. You can't buy it. Yeah. You can't fucking pull it off a shelf. And people that don't know that feeling and that kind of work, those are the people that go, wow, how the hell did you do that?
Yeah.
Why can't I get my people to do that? Well, because you're still leading from a pedestal.
Right.
You need to roll your sleeves up, get down there and do the work.
Right.
And that's what I've always loved about you. Even whenever you and Kevin were sitting in the back of the barbershop, it was never the Jim show. It was Jim. It was Kevin.
Yeah.
And Kevin's doing a lot of this work behind the scenes so we can do this project.
Right.
Right. And a lot of people wouldn't have ever made that known.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, no, it's my company. It's what I do. Yeah, I'm responsible. Yeah. No, come on, man. Yeah. We all have a lot of people to thank.
Well, I also accidentally hired someone who figures out how to do everything. Like I've never met anybody like.
There is no shortage of
Kevin
thoughts in that
Willingham.
man's head.
Yeah, it's like, and it's funny. He went with me to Toki, and a meeting earlier on Zoom. It's like, can somebody, Kevin, you just do it. People realize he's just the guy who knows how to figure everything out.
He's a hustler.
He's a hustler and a reader and a researcher. So
yes,
a lot of the credit for that time is because of him, and he's still doing it.
Well, listen, we preach on here a lot, or at least we talk about a lot, the left and the right, the north, the south, the feminine, the masculine. In any one of our business ventures, if you don't have at least one other person there to mirror your shit and help you with your shit, and you do the same for them, you're never going to reach your full potential, because you got to have somebody that says, hey, you suck at that. Let me do it better for you. And then all of a sudden you realize that it's not two people, it's one.
Yeah.
It's one energy meeting another energy, creating just limitless potential.
Right.
And some of y'all listening or watching might think that's BS. You're the ones that need to practice it the most.
It's true.
Yeah.
You need to listen to us here.
Yeah.
You don't get to even just the little old place where we're at.
Yeah.
On your own.
Yeah.
It's
right?
true.
And without anything else, what's that? Go ahead.
I just want to say one thing.
No, but say 20 things. I don't care.
Well, nothing I've said that I've accomplished or anything was done just by me.
No,
you know
of course
I mean?
not.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when you're an ad agency and you go to business partners and you're like, hey, we're going to put out a book and start a record label, huh? Like,
Yeah.
they're like, what? They had to buy off on it and be like, okay, let's try that. Why wouldn't we,
Yeah.
And then, a team of people who either worked with me or worked for me who made it all happen. And it's like the whole collaboration thing. I tell people all the time, my fantasy for any company I'm at is just a bunch of people getting together, collaborating to do great work.
Yeah.
It's as simple as life should be.
Good motto.
Right?
Yeah, dude.
That's just exactly how it's supposed to be. And when people get in and they want to, I don't know, take all the credit or their ego or I'm not touching that because I didn't work on it, I don't get credit. That stuff's got to go.
So are you saying that the ego is probably the center of a lot of the bad in your industry?
For sure.
I'd say in any industry.
Well, that's where I was going.
More people need to have that recognition, and it's like if you did your job,
yeah,
you wouldn't have this problem.
I mean,
Right.
and this speaks volumes in that earlier when I had completely forgotten. I knew that you had worked with that actor in the book and the show and everything, but you even said yourself, like you had sold that company and all these moving parts and whatnot. You're not getting the benefits from that,
right?
Except you do get the benefits because you made damn sure to tell us about it. So you're proud of that.
Yeah.
And
Super
that's
proud of it.
Yeah, and that's great. Yeah. I mean, that's something that we can't say, a lot of us can't say about things. So I think that, out there in listener land, just because maybe your name's not in the, in the top reel of the credits or you didn't get a big fat payday, it doesn't mean that you didn't add something beautiful to the world.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Even in the form of a TV show or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be proud of it. Even if it didn't make you wealthy, people, it's okay to be proud of it. Even if nobody else thought you should do it.
Right.
Very true.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. So thank you for adding that.
Sure.
I apologize.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask Jeff. Jeff, do you have any other questions or anything else to
No, man.
to run?
Thank you for being on here.
It's an honor
sharing
to be
some
here.
insights, man.
Absolutely.
Well, we're going to share some links, some of your work, some of the projects that you've been a part of. Okay. Hopefully people can get out there and they can get a good look at it and good listen. And I'm excited to get some feedback from people. I think it's going to be pretty damn stellar. Excuse me. So, having said that, Jim, thank you so much for being our first
It was
guest.
an
Absolutely.
honor. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
My gosh, you guys said so many nice things about me. I might actually start believing them someday.
I hope you do.
Yes,
And
you should.
it's the hardest thing in the
Again,
world
take credit for some of those amazing things and things you've done. That's a hard thing that he doesn't. But humility is a good thing at the end of the day too, as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you again. I can't wait. You got anything that's coming up? You got anything that you want the people to know about?
Well, the book, fineprintsmallpress.com is me and Chris's thing.
Oh, right
that's on. We put out a record with Three Merry Widows not too long ago. Had a release party at Del Mar Hall for that. And they reunited. We've got,
Pretty amazing.
You can buy that there. The book's coming out. We're trying to do, this, obviously the things are a little crazy now, but we're trying to do, another couple releases coming out as well. So, knocking on wood.
Sure.
And just keep making stuff. Everybody who likes to make stuff. That's what we want to do.
Totally,
right?
man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Everybody work together, make something beautiful.
Yeah.
Share it, trade it. That's one of the great things about being a maker in a good makers community is you don't always have to take cash with you.
Yeah. Right.
Like we like to trade, we like to barter. Like I don't want to buy that,
Old
but
school way.
I'm telling you,
Totally.
I love that.
dude, it's the best way, right?
It
like
is.
I think that's how we're supposed to be.
The world was built that way.
And I just think that we've outsmarted ourselves just a little bit.
I think so too.
Paper didn't exist
Yeah.
Early times.
Right.
Right.
Credit cards.
Yeah.
That plastic didn't exist back in caveman times.
Yeah.
That's
Early
right,
man.
man. Cool. All right. Well, I hope that you enjoy your dinner.
Yeah. I'm
right.
so glad we're still friends. I'm glad we stay in touch. I love you
Totally.
guys.
Love
Thank
you, man.
so much for having me.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank
Hopefully
you.
you get to come back again on like some 100th episode or I don't know, some other time.
Sounds good.
And if you ever have anything that you're doing, if you ever got anything that you'd like the people to know about, just let us know.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll make sure that it's known. Okay.
Sounds good.
So thank you for what you're doing for your community. Jeff, thanks for putting up with us another day.
Hey, man. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Always
awesome.
fun.
It's awesome.
I
So,
love it.
Mr. Harper, we love you. We thank you. Have a wonderful dinner tonight with your dear friend.
Sounds good.
And stay safe. Everybody out there, we love you. And we'll see you all again soon. And enjoy going out with DiBiase. All right.
Bye,
Peace.
guys.